Who died?
Our daughter. Our little girl.
How did she die?
He ripped her apart.
Who did this?
Sending. Come to gawk at the monster. Believe me, it wasn't anything I ever intended to do. It's all on account of this blasted ring. Persing didn't care for my taking it, and threw a curse on it. I am one of them. A werewolf. It's my secret, and my shame.
Wait. But Cindy, I don't know how to hunt. I had been out hunting for days. Nothing that happens to you in this life cannot be overcome if you just carry out Stendar's mercy. Feast your eyes upon the White Gold Tower, my son. An orc by the name of Agronak Romalog. Also like you, he was cursed. I shall take you there, but for now, we stay here in Bruma. I am not Kara's master, for she is a gift of Stendar's mercy. I had finally found the beast.
I am the spirit of the hunt. Your kind calls Hercene.
Will you remove the curse from this ring?
Pick out this rogue shifter. Tear the skin from his body and make it an offering to me.
I will not kill him.
There are others who would gladly accept my favor.
For I did not know where this hunt would be taking place. It was a massacre. I knew that Sinding actually had a good heart. I will spare your life. The last of the hunters is dead, and my heart wanted to break. I now knew why they called it Stendar's mercy. It was Kara, my father's horse. I, Flavius Maxsus, do hereby dedicate my thoughts and my history to this journal. It is my solemn hope that my son Braxtis will read this one day, and perhaps come to understand who he truly is, and understand who I was. I remember our humble beginnings in Bruma, as they were difficult, yet they were the events that would set my son's destiny into motion, and change me forever. Moving to Bruma had proven to be an expensive endeavor. The trip from High Rock to the outskirts of Skyrim and Cyrodiil had left me broke. Some Crusaders of Stendarr had made quite a fortune during their service. I had, however, devoted my life to the cause over monetary gain. And so I found myself venturing forth into Bruma in search for work. I thought perhaps the Fighters Guild would provide sufficient funds, so I tried them first. Watching the members of the guild as they practiced their techniques, I thought silently to myself, is this what passes for fighters these days? They looked more like mercenaries than guardians. Perhaps they were.
Good morning.
Can I join the Fighters Guild?
Sorry, but we're not looking for new members right now. The Dimities branch is currently undergoing strict internal reforms. Check back soon, though.
There's no chance for me to join at all?
I'm afraid not. Talk to you later.
The rejection of membership into the Fighters Guild had been a blow to my initial plans. There was always the Synod, but despite my natural abilities as a Breton with magic, I seldom trusted mages as a whole. This left me no choice but to perhaps seek out mercenary work at the castle, which was exactly what I wanted to avoid. The fewer people who knew of mine and Braxtis's presence in Bruma, the better. And yet I was about to announce our arrival to the Count's court. Little did I know I was about to meet one of the dearest friends I'd ever have.
Excuse me, sorry to bother. I don't suppose you've seen any priceless Sakaviri heirlooms gallivanting around Bruma, have you?
No heirlooms, sorry.
As I suspected. Sorry to bother you, citizen. Just, let me know if any do crop up, yeah? Thanks.
What's all this about Akaviri heirlooms?
A whole lot of uproar about nothing, that's what. The Count's been nagging my life and soul out about the damn things. You see, the Carvanes have a sort of family tradition. They've acquired a taste for Akaviri artifacts, constantly collecting more and more. Been going on for centuries now. Well, it turns out poor old Count Desilus, Count Carvane, isn't too happy that his collection's been stolen.
Your tone. Tensions between you and the Count?
No, not tensions as such, just... I'm tired. I've had 4 sleepless nights in a row. The Count's talking my ear off about these artifacts, and it's stopping me from tending to more important issues. Not that I'm disloyal to Count Carvane, of course. I've never had reason to dislike our ruler. Better him than some of the other counts and countesses in the province.
You mentioned more important issues.
Yes, this damned artifact business doesn't affect anyone except the Count. While I'm out chasing after shiny baubles, people are getting killed by bandits and waylaid on the road. I mean, we've got Thorina's cutters roaming the Gerals and harrying travelers for Stendar's sake. And I'm wandering Bruma after trinkets, like some lost paint horse looking for its master.
Could you use some help searching for them?
Well, that's... who am I kidding? Absolutely. This is driving me crazy. Just bring them back to me when you've found them, and I'll be extremely appreciative. And I mean extremely appreciative. Seriously. I feel like offing myself right about now.
When and how were the artifacts stolen?
I'm not too sure on the details of that, to be honest. Rignar, the castle steward, was the first one who noticed them missing. Might be worth speaking to him, if you think that's interesting evidence to dig up.
How did the thief even get inside the castle?
I have no idea how they'd manage that, honestly. Either adept stealth or good luck. Probably a bit of both.
Why would the thief want the artifacts? Monetary value, or...?
Almost definitely the resale value. Akaviri artifacts are very often one of a kind, and they can fetch a very high price to the right buyers. Someone possessing those artifacts could find themselves becoming very wealthy very quickly. I suspect that's the motive here.
What exactly was stolen?
Akaviri artifacts. I don't know anything more specific than that. Rignar and the Count both told me, but honestly it flew in one ear and out the other. If you want to know exactly what artifacts to keep your eyes peeled for, talk to Rignar. I'm sure he can help you more there.
Have any suspects?
Not in particular. Then again, the lowlives of Bruma don't exactly hide themselves all that well. The shadier tavern in town, the Restful Watchman, full of thieves, bandits, thugs, and other miscreants, might be a decent place to start your search. See you.
Guard Captain, a moment. I need to speak with you. I don't trust the Restful Watchman or her owner. Too many suspicious characters there. I want you to conduct a search of the premises for evidence of Talos worship.
I'm the Count Steward here in Bruma. If there is anything you need, I'll try my best to help you.
Adius hired me. Let's talk about the stolen artifacts.
So the guard captain's actually looking into it. Excellent. Can't have the Carvane artifact collection lost to some random burglar.
Did you see the theft itself? What happened?
I didn't know. I was just doing the rounds here in the castle. I was about to go to bed for the night when I noticed something. Normally there's a little glint in the corner of my eye. The light bouncing off of one of the Akaviri amulets. But this time, nothing. I went to investigate, and the artifacts were gone. I'm sorry I can't be of more use.
What artifacts exactly are missing?
Some amulets, some rings, a katana, all of Akaviri design. Priceless relics. Very valuable and very well loved by the Count.
I'm done questioning you for now.
Best of luck with your investigation.
Although I hadn't planned on involving myself so greatly with Bruma and its affairs, I had to admit that this missing artifact hunt was fortuitous indeed. I hadn't needed to make any formal introductions to the Count, leaving my greater anonymity intact. while simultaneously offering a greater opportunity to put myself in the good graces of the court. I would need to go to this restful watchman and begin my investigation.
I don't believe I've seen you before. Fascinating. A newcomer to Bruma, is that what we have here?
Blast! The Thalmor must have noticed me earlier while speaking with the captain. I'd need to keep my head down, for their ire was the last thing I needed.
What is it?
Can I help you? I've got you here to do business.
Heard anything about stolen Akaviri heirlooms?
I don't tend to gossip about my patrons. Bad for business, you know, especially when you're in my line of work.
I have ways of getting information out of people like you.
Yeah, fine. But keep this on the down low. There's this Breton guy who comes through here every now and again. Sleaziest guy I've ever seen. Except for me, of course. Got a reputation to maintain, you know? Name's Etienne. Or something like that. Anyway, he mentioned something to do with Akaviri trinkets while we spoke. Mentioned wanting to sell them, or something. I guess he's your man.
Where can I find this Etienne?
I don't know. Listen, do you really think I'm going to tell you everything about my customers? That's a sure way to get run out of this business.
Don't play dumb with me, Bentior. We're both smarter than that.
Listen, you want me to tell you so badly? Make me. I'm not budging until I've been forced to, legally. You know what I'm getting at, I assume.
This one calls you friend. Can I help you?
Bentior proved to have more sand than expected, leaving me no choice but to seek out Adius's help. I could only hope that this wouldn't make me appear incapable. I was already having a most trying day.
Oh look, a tourist. What do you want?
Huh. One of the Fighters Guild members coming into this den of debauchery. I guess my assessment of them was right. Maybe if they had accepted my application, they would have had at least one honorable follower of Stendar amongst their ranks. No matter. It was their loss.
Protect and serve. See it, report it.
Bentior won't tell me anything without legal pressure.
Bentior wants legal pressure. That can certainly be arranged. Take this, a letter with my signature. Show it to him and he's sure to change his tune.
Ifra's bones, what in oblivion do you want?
Hello.
What is it? Hello?
I have this letter from Adius.
What? Let me see that. Oh, damn. Fine, I'll tell you what I know. Listen, I heard the thief had some dealings with some, fellow businessmen holed up in the Gerals. You'd probably call them bandits, though. I tell you, no respect for the profession these days. Here, just so I don't have to go sit in a cell again, I'll mark it on your map. Go take it up with them. And by the divines, leave me alone now, alright? God.
Bye.
This one calls you friend.
I will be leaving in the morning on an important errand for the Count of Bruma. It shouldn't be but a day's ride from here. If all goes well, I shan't be gone for more than a day. While I'm gone, stay out of trouble. Father, you don't have to go on these long, dangerous trips. I found an orc that needs help named Dumrag. And there's a Dunmere woman who I heard needs help. Also, I'm sure I don't need to venture a guess as to where you've discovered these people in need, as it appears you've been sticking your nose into others' business. Braxtis, we are broke, and only a job for the Count of Bruma will supply us with the sufficient funds we need. Be a child. Play. Make friends, and for the love of Stendar, mind your own business. The other kids, they don't like me, Father. Except there's this one girl. I haven't really spoken to her, but I've heard her mention her father several times before. Her mother works here at the inn. Her father's missing, and maybe if you could find him, the other kids will like me. Nonsense, Braxtis. It is not our place to involve ourselves in the marital affairs of others. Besides all that, it is like I said. We are broke and need money. We can't just be doing charity work to fill our bellies, now can we? But, I thought being a Crusader meant I am no longer a Crusader now, am I? I no longer wear the armor or shield of a Crusader. Those I have put away. Now go to bed, and trouble me no more with your idle tongue. Yes, Father. I left for the bandits' den early the next morning. Luckily, Kara was still a faithful companion to me, symbolizing that Stendar had not as of yet revoked his mercy upon me. And yet my conversation with Braxtis the previous night was troubling me. As I approached the bandits' lair, I realized that it had been farther out from Bruma than expected. Still, I had made great time getting there. If all went well, I would make short work of the filth and be back in Bruma by nightfall. I would leave Kara outside to guard the entrance, ensuring no one escaped me unawares.
Ever heard the one about...
What was that?
I'll kill you! Taken down much worse than you.
After having cleansed this place of its filth, I found no indication of where the Akravari artifacts might be, other than the mad scribblings of a drug-addled alchemist. I was no closer to my goal. I would need to search this place thoroughly. Plus, there was loot to be had that I could sell. I didn't like looting. It was not the way of a Crusader. But I was not a Crusader anymore. Amazing. The artifacts had been under our noses the whole time. I would need to inform the captain of these secret tunnels underneath Bruma right away. I just hoped I wasn't too late. I had spent more time searching the bandit lair than expected, and had lost precious time. I would need to be swift. If not for Kara's celestial speed, I might not have made it back to Bruma before dark. As it stood, I was actually making good time. Part of me was tempted to check in on Braxtis, but I was in no mood for his trifling nature. It did, however, occur to me that I had time to sell some of the items I had procured in the bandit's lair to the blacksmith. Little did I know that I had garnered more attention than originally intended, and I was walking into an ambush.
This'll teach you not to take things that don't belong to you. This'll teach you not— Hey!
One of my memories as a child in Bruma was the morning my father left to go speak with the Fighters Guild about enrollment. He had been troubled about our lack of funds, so as soon as he was gone, I too set out to find a way to make some coin.
What is it?
I'd heard of a place called the Restful Watchman, a place that wouldn't ask questions about a kid my age looking for work. Truth be told, I had no business going into a place such as that, but I had to find a way to help my father.
What is it? You here to do business? I've got rooms, I've got food and drinks, and 1,000 elven ladies under my belt.
This place is filthy, and seems to be full of undesirables.
Then go over to the Gerald View if it suits you better. Me, I think this inn has more character than Mr. Stantis Fancy Pants' little establishment.
Heard any rumors?
Alamu Nethray, dark elf girl. She's wanting adventurers to help her with something. Not sure what. See you around.
Good afternoon. To fail at a simple job like that. No way it was just a coincidence. There must have been... Oh, hello. What are you looking at? Speak.
What were you mumbling about?
That's none of your... I suppose there's no harm in telling you now. Who knows? Maybe you'll be able to help. I'm a mercenary. Been one for years now, and I don't often fail a job. But this last time, I did fail, but not through any fault of my own.
Tell me more.
I'd been hired by some anonymous noble to clear out a cave full of bandits near Bruma. Offer some nice coin, too. My wife came with me. We were battle partners. Things were going well until we were ambushed. Bandit reinforcements showed up out of nowhere, flanking us the way we came. They bound us and gagged us, left us disarmed and defeated. They left with my wife and left me to die. I managed to escape my captivity, but when I got back to the cave, they'd gone. All of them, including my wife. I've been searching for her damn near a whole year now. No success.
I don't suppose there'd be any pay involved.
A mercenary, eh? Someone after my own heart. Sure there'd be. I have a bit of coin left over from the old days.
I'll help you.
Praise Malakath. Once you turn up something solid, let me know. I'll be here. The best place to start is probably the castle. Ask the nobles, see if they know anything.
Yes, Orc.
Doomrag had praised Malakath. Considering my personal relationship with the Daedric Prince, it had made me uncomfortable. Didn't he know that Malakath was Daedra?
Had to turn yourself in.
Maybe this is why the guards treated me like I was trouble. Because Orc were known for praising Daedra openly. Anyway, I had to go to Castle Bruma and do a little sleuthing to see what I could find out. I really should have just went to my father and informed him about the job instead. But I'd never been to a castle before. And truth be told, I was excited to meet a count and his nobles.
I'm the Count Welcome to Castle Bruma, seat of County Bruma, jewel of the Gerals and all Cyrodiil.
Do you know of any nobles that hired mercenaries for a bandit raid last year?
An interesting question. We keep records of expenses from members of the Bruma court, especially the times it's coming out of our treasury. However, we don't give this kind of information out to anyone who so much as asks. Why do you want to know?
I'm investigating a kidnapping. On suspicion of foul play.
Truly? I see an honest glint in your eye. I think you're telling the truth. Well then, I will get you any information I can from the records. One moment while I go check them. You just wait around here.
Is there something I can do for you?
What's it like being a Count of Bruma?
It's a complicated task, let's put it that way. On the one hand, there are the Imperials. On the other, there are the Nords. And then, there are the other cultures to contend with as well. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that the Stormcloak uprising in Skyrim has complicated things to a certain extent. But I'm proud to serve Bruma and her people.
Tell me about yourself.
I am Silas Carvain. I have the singular honor of acting as Count of Bruma, defending her walls and ruling over her people. I am young, and I know some use this as ammunition with which to criticize me, but they are short-sighted, and they are foolish. I act in the best interest of Bruma at all times. I will always fight valiantly to defend her from threats both within and without. That is what matters. Farewell.
Well, I've checked the records. There was one account of Afana Idici hiring some mercenaries for a job similar to your description last year. She spends a lot of time around the castle. You can go speak to her if you wish. Out of memory, there was another who hired some mercenaries for a bandit raid last year too. It was, Simon Courtier. Yeah, that's the one. Not too sure on the details. I'm going off of memory here, since his mission wasn't recorded in the books. Strange that. We usually keep thorough records. Well, anyway, I hope I was of some help. But that's all I know, and all the books know. Best of luck with your investigation.
Marcius Carvain, Viscount Bruma. The title garners a lot of respect and a fair few privileges. Anyway, how can I help you? I am Marcius Carvain, Viscount Bruma, at your service. Have you read my book by any chance?
You wrote a book?
Yes, an explorer's guide to Skyrim. Very popular in Skyrim. Seems to turn up in the most unusual of places.
What does a Viscount do?
As Viscount, I'm a sort of secondary count, if you will. I deal with a lot of the same duties as the Count, albeit deferring to him. Often, when the Count is busy with other matters, he delegates lesser affairs to me. Until next time.
Do you need something?
I'm Sinja Strongmind. I'm one of the nobles of County Bruma. Is there anything I can help you with?
Yes, Orc?
Do you know of any nobles that hired mercenaries recently?
I heard of 2 raids of bandits in the last few months. There was Operation Strong Arm, and another. The other one was Anamidas, if memory serves. But Strong Arm was my idea. Afraid that's all I can remember, though. Things move quickly here in the castle.
Who did you hire for the raid?
I hired just some common, everyday mercenaries, really. Nothing particularly special about them, as far as I recall.
Where were the bandits holed up?
They were holed up in plundered mine, as far as I remember. More have probably moved in by now, sadly. I swear, bandits breed faster than skeevers in a keck of Blackbriar.
Was the raid successful?
Yes, it was. The bandits were cleared out, and the ringleader killed. Minimal casualties on our side. Goodbye.
Hello, I am Afana Adichie. I'm part of the Bruma court. Rather high-ranking in it, too. Anyway, is there anything you needed?
What do you do here in Castle Bruma?
Do? Oh, well, I suppose I don't really do anything in particular. I mean, I help out the Count when needed, of course. My father owned land outside of Bruma, and after some lucrative business with the Carvanes, became well respected. I inherited what he owned when he passed, and, well, here I am. Oh, but I do love conversations like this. Feel free to come back and chat about it again sometime.
Do you know of any nobles that hired mercenaries recently?
Let me think. There was one raid Simond organized last I remember. Never mentioned it to me. Always been a quiet fellow, but I saw it in his journal.
You were reading his journal?
Well, yes. He's one of those mysterious men, you know? Just has an aura about him. Piques a lady's interest. You can't blame me for peeking in his journal, I hope. We all have our vices.
Do you remember when this raid was?
No, truth told. Though I imagine you could just check Simmons' journal if you wanted to do that. I obviously couldn't endorse such behavior, though. Goes without saying, I suppose.
Do you not remember the raid Sinja Strongmind pushed for?
Oh, yes, I do. Operation Strong Arm, they called it at the time. Sun's Dawn, I think?
Where would I find Sidman's journal?
In his quarters, of course. Though you may need a key to get inside.
Something makes me think you have the key.
Well, maybe I do. I'm a terrible liar. Okay, I have one. But I obviously couldn't give it to you now, could I? Unless you could always do me a favor.
What kind of favor?
Here's what we'll do. I'll give you the key to Simmons' quarters, and you can do whatever you wish. But in return, you have to leave this note in his drawer. No need to read it. It's sentimental.
I'll do it. Now hand over the key.
Oh, fantastic. Here you go. I eagerly await your return.
I could have sworn you... Aha!
What a pleasant surprise! I love it when new people stop by to chat about Farswar. What is it?
What do you do here?
Clean, mostly. I do all the work that nobody else wants to. I don't mind it, really. Especially since that means I get to work around my friend Irma. Thanks for asking. Have a great day in Bruma.
Hello. Hello there.
Do you know of any nobles that hired mercenaries recently?
Yes. There was Strong Minds operation. That's about all I can remember, though.
But Sinja mentioned another raid on Midas. Her raid wasn't the only one.
Nothing that I recall. Apologies.
Goodbye.
Sidman was lying, and liars are usually guilty of something, as Father would often say. I needed to get into Sidman's room to see if there were any clues about what he was hiding, and I needed to do it soon. If I stayed out too late and Father beat me back to our room at the Gerald View, then he'd thrash me good. I was just so excited to be in the castle that I was talking to just about everyone, except the guards. They were still treating me like I was up to something, which I was.
I could have sworn you... Aha!
Unfortunately, after I located Sidman's room, I had to wait for the coast to be clear before I could enter it. Obviously, this was going to add more time to me making it back to the room before my father. So at this point, I could only hope that he was real busy with what he was doing also. The journal proved Sidman knew more than he was letting on, so my next move would be to inform Doomrag. I could have taken some stuff out of Sidman's room and sold it too, but I knew Father would disapprove. So I stashed Afana's gross letter and went to let her know. I remember thinking how silly that letter was, and how I'd never act that way when I got older.
Yes, did you do it? Did you plant the note in Gautier's drawer? Oh, I am aflutter with excitement.
Yes, I have.
Excellent. Here, take a bit of extra coin. My treat. I can't wait until Simmond reads it.
As silly as I found all this mushy love stuff, I did have to admit that there was a profit to be made in it.
Oh, hello. Is there something I can help with, sir?
How do you like serving the Count of Bruma?
It's a fair position, at least on a temporary basis. The pay's decent, and we get food and free rooms, so I can't complain. My brothers up in Skyrim would probably laugh seeing me here. They can take giants clubs to the face for all I care. I like the people here, especially old Farsvar.
I was surprised to see an orc in the castle. She reminded me of my mother. What I could remember of her, that is. But I didn't want to dwell on that at the time. Besides, I needed to report back to Doomrag and get my reward.
The Restful Watchman. Rooms and food, that's what we do. What do you need?
What are you doing gawking at me? You're back. Any news on my wife? Who's the spineless wretch that sold us out? Tell me, now!
It was Sigmund Gautier.
Gautier? The Breton? Then I'll rip his... Wait, a Breton? Really? A Breton? Weak-willed, soft-spoken, magic-practicing ponces? How could a Breton overcome an orc, even with bandits on his side? I remember overhearing talk in the castle that Simon had a luxury manor up in the east of the Gerals somewhere. Go search this guy's home. See if it actually was him. Find something, anything, that conclusively links him to the crime and bring it to me. If it is the damned Breton, that's when we act.
Yes, orc.
So things hadn't gone as expected. As soon as I realized that Doomrag required more of me before paying, I then tried to convince my father to finish the job, but he'd only brushed me aside. Maybe that was just as well, I thought, since Doomrag clearly didn't think much of Bretons, and father would have cut him down surely for slighting his honor. So now I had to set out to finish Doomrag's vendetta on my own. But I was no warrior, and Cyrodiil was dangerous. Luckily, father had set out earlier that morning, so he'd never know I was gone. I was a fast runner, and Gautier's mansion in the Gerals couldn't have been that far away. So the plan was to run there, get the information, and run back. My foolish child mind actually believed I'd be back before my father returned. I did have one advantage, though, and that was my clairvoyance, a magical ability that had always come naturally to me as a result of my Breton blood. As soon as I had a clear idea of where to go, I only needed to focus, and it would guide the way. I hadn't realized that there were so many bandits near Bruma, and this often led to my hiding. I was no warrior after all. Wolves and smaller threats I could handle, but full-grown men and Mer were out of my league. Also, if I panicked or got turned around, my clairvoyance would need to realign itself, and this required me to focus my mind. Seeing how I was 15 years old, my mind was not as honed as that of a Crusader's yet.
Show yourself, worm. And off they run.
I had been turned around a few too many times. Ended up arriving at the mansion late, which was cutting into my time on making it back to Bruma before my father. To make matters worse, the mansion was guarded, and I hadn't even considered that it might even be guarded. Regardless, I told Doomrag that I'd get the job done, and I intended to do just that. Father had always taught me to keep my word, and although I couldn't force my way past the guards, I was sufficiently stealthy in those days, and I intended to use every trick in the book to get in and out, then get back to Bruma before Father.
What's going on here?
Who made that noise? What's going on? Must be my imagination. Who's there? Who is that out there? Gah, a wild guard chase.
It took longer to find the evidence than I would have liked, but I found it. Father would have been ashamed to see me rob Sidman's safe, but I felt I had earned it.
My legs ache. Might be coming down with hell joint.
Found you!
With the bandits in front of me and the guards behind me, I thought maybe taking a shortcut would get them off my trail. Plus, it might also get me back to Bruma faster. And seeing how late it was, if I did manage to beat Father back, it was going to be by a hair. The bear had startled me, which in turn led me into accidentally falling into that ice-cold water. With the wind chill and now damp clothes, I was beginning to feel absolutely rotten. I had gotten lost as my clairvoyance was useless at this point. I was tired, cold, and becoming reckless. I could see what appeared to be a Bruma watchtower in the distance. My hope was that perhaps they'd take pity on an orc and help me. I didn't know how much further I could go, and if I had to travel any farther in my condition, I couldn't be sure that I wouldn't perish. had read the note found on the group that died alongside Curdewin several times now, taking note of every detail of import. He had been assisting a group whose affiliation was still unknown to me. They were wanting to venture into a place called the Sightless Pit near Winterhold in search of some artifacts. They had been betrayed, and Curdewin lost his life. Curdewin, on top of being a vigilant of Stendar, was also something of a scholar, and had quite a few books on the subject of this Sightless Pit. So I spent many weeks reading his research in hopes that I could find an exact location, since I had no intentions of going on a wild goose chase like I had with Sinding. During that time, I would also go into town heavily hooded to see Nari. As the days went by, I would open up to her more and more about my past, until I finally revealed my true face to her. She accepted me, and I accepted her for her past.
Shore's bones, handsome man in Valkyrie.
Our time was special, but we never knew one another in the way of when two lovers become one physically. One morning, while researching yet another of Curdewin's books, I discovered the location of the Sightless Pit. Part of me was elated, for now I could fulfill my duty as a Crusader and avenge Curdewin's murder. Yet part of me was sad, since this meant I would have to leave Nari once again, and for who knows how long this time. I prayed to Stendar that if it be his will, I would pass this responsibility on to another, and live out my days in Falkreath with Nari. For my heart did desire this, but I accepted that it was Stendar's will, not my own, that should be done. And by the end of the prayer, I knew deep within me that he'd set this task before me and no one else. So I broke the news to Nari, promising that I'd return.
I've half a mind to ask if you'll take me on one of your adventures, but I can't just leave Volga on her own.
Come on in. Just stoke the fire. Take a seat and get the cold out.
Yes?
The morning I set out to leave, I stopped by the inn to bid farewell to Nari, but she was nowhere to be seen. This was just as well, I thought. Kara wasn't answering my summons, which stung perhaps more than having to leave Nari behind, because it meant we hadn't formed as strong of a bond as I'd hoped. It could have also meant that Stendar was displeased with me over Nari. Either way, I had no intention of venturing to Winterhold on foot, so I opted to take a carriage instead. A bad blizzard had been going on since my first arrival in Winterhold, and with no intention of letting up, I decided I had to set out in its frozen oblivion. After speaking with the locals and making sure that their knowledge lined up with that of Curdewin's on the matter of the Sightless Pit, they assured me that its entrance was near an old watchtower. I felt sure that my clairvoyance wouldn't fail getting me there in a timely manner. The trek had been long, and I had already been going without stop for 2 days. My clairvoyance had run me smack dab through the path of a giant beast I'd never seen before, and like a coward I decided to avoid a conflict. I was exhausted and felt that the beast would have too much of an advantage on me. This act of cowardice, I'm sure, displeased Stendarr greatly. The blizzard had finally let up on the 4th night, and I found myself high up in the mountains. I felt exhausted, and considering making camp so I could rest since I had been going non-stop. And that's when I saw it. The watchtower the townsfolk had spoken of, which could have only meant that I was close to the sightless pit now. Making my way down to the watchtower, I allowed myself to relax, since I was close now. I felt it couldn't hurt to spend one night at the watchtower. Besides, it had a raging fire and it felt good to rest my aching body near it. The blizzard had returned. I was a fool. Had I just pressed on, then maybe I would have arrived at the sightless pit ahead of the storm. As it stood now, my progress would once again be hindered by the very nature of Skyrim itself. Because of the blizzard, I arrived at the sightless pit early the following morning. I considered making camp for one more night, until I spotted some sort of odd flightless winged beast. Even though I was tired, I would not fail Stendarr again. This creature would not be allowed to roam free any longer. After defeating it, I felt better, less tired. It was like something had breathed new life into me, strengthening my resolve to press on, and so I did. Neither Curdwin's research nor the townsfolk had said anything about this place being an actual pit. If I could not climb back out, which it seemed slim that I could, then I was going to have to find another way. Curdwin's notes had detailed that this sightless pit was an old Dwemer temple of some sort, but was now abandoned as a result of the Dwemer people vanishing in 1E700. They were also known as dwarves, and Curdwin's research warned that even though the dwarves were long gone, they were master craftsmen capable of creating defenses that could still be active even to this very day, and that the place may also be crawling with what was known as Falmir. Once called snow elves, it was said that they had since turned into these vicious blind mutants as a result of being run underground for so long. Looking at the dead bandits only confirmed that something dangerous was down here. I found the Falmir rather fascinating. Grotesque, but fascinating. They were capable of crafting their own weapons and armor along with dangerous poisons, in which they'd use on their weapons. They also seemed to use an intricate tunnel system for getting around, but I dared not try using it for myself. Suddenly, I was feeling less conflicted about taking that coin purse from earlier, or any loot found down here for that matter. traps, giant spiders, and poisonous bugs that I had never seen the likes of before. And now there was remnants of large Dwemer machinery that looked as though it was made for killing. At the top of these stairs lay a large door. What was beyond that door? Who knows? But what I did know is I had no choice but to press on, especially if I was going to find a way out of here.